Hi ladies and gents, Lord of Pontail here with another video for Rise of Empires, Ice and Fire. Today it's a Thursday, Heroes Day, so we're going to look at another of the SX1 heroes, the last of the SX1 heroes in fact. It is Windwalker. I do have him in my account. He is a Cavalry hero and he is a defensive hero, so he is definitely suitable for front row. Let's have a look at his skills. Of course, skill 1 is the usual dictator skill, increasing the marching capacity of the troops to 23,100. Then straight onto his second hero specific skill, quick take. It's a status skill. So absolutely key. It's going to target his own squad, as all status skills do. And it is a healing skill. So whenever the squad takes basic attacks, the first aid status will be entered. Recover troops each turn, 20% recovery rate. Last 2 turns, the first aid status can stack 8 times. That is 20% recovery rate per hit. That's pretty good, and it's a guaranteed. This is a status skill, so it's activating pre-battle. You're getting up to, if this stacks 8 times over the second 2 turns, you're getting 160% recovery rate. I think that's really good, really good for a front row hero. You want to be able, if he's healing troops automatically, that is really what you want from a front row hero. You want those troops. You want as many troops to last as long as possible. You might be thinking, why does this stack 8 times? Well, once we have a look at the ape skill, that will kind of clarify that, because obviously over 2 turns, you would get basic attacked usually 6 times, but he has a certain element to his ape skill that changes that. So that's the first kind of skill, really nice. Of course, skill 3 is the usual defensive formation, giving you up to 50% extra resistance for the troops in your squad. Skill 4 is the leadership cavalry skill with cavalry offensive, which will give up to 50% might. Then on to his 5th skill, Come Get Me. This is a combat skill, and the effective range is 3. So if you'll have Windwalker and it's on the front row, then it can target any of the 3 enemy squads. And it will target 2 random enemy squads. Really nice, pretty good chance here. 60% chance to deal 331% damage to 2 enemy squads within range. So that's 662 damage from a front row hero. That is quite a high amount of damage for one of your front row defensive heroes. And 60% chance. This is really nice. I've actually seen I've had some battles with him where this is actually activated 7 times out of the 8 rounds. That's the most, and it was only a couple of times, but in general, this will, I'd say my average is this is activating 5 times a battle. So when you consider that's over 3,000 damage you're getting on average from this activating 5 times. Really very nice. But the caveat is this. The second part of the skill, and deal 331% damage to self squad. So supposedly this does deal damage to yourself. Now, I want to actually, we're going to review a battle footage in a minute, and when you watch it, actually, I have watched multiple battles of my Windwalker, and I have not seen this damage to himself. And I'll show you what I mean. So I don't know whether the developers have made a mistake, either in the wording, or this was supposed to be something different, or it was supposed to be as it is, but it's not actually active in the code. I'd be really interested in people's thoughts in this, but like I say, I'll show you this in a minute. 6th skill, the Awakened skill, as usual, you get the 250% bonus to the leadership skills. And then front row hero, 20% extra resistance. Really good. It's going to buff him up so he can take more hits. High level of extra resistance as well. And then you've got the plus 20 cavalry speed. Not a huge amount, but I think it's basically designed to be enough so that he does take the first go in the turn, having that slightly extra speed. Again, the reason for that is his 8th skill. So yeah, 20% extra resistance, a little bit of extra speed, so it syncs with his 8th skill. That's absolutely fine. Skill 7, it's the discipline skill, and he has got the might, increasing 40% might for all the troops in your legion. Generally, you might prefer to have your defensive hero having the resistance, but because he has such a good healing skill, I don't think it's such an issue, and that's maybe why they've chosen to give him might. So this leads us to the 8th skill. Unfortunately, I only have one copy of Windwalker. Being a front row hero, I had to obviously awaken him first. I picked up 2 at the same time in one of my recruitments recently at the start of this season. I don't know. I am collecting fragments for him. The problem is with Windwalker, I already have Army Breaker maxed, and Army Breaker is definitely better than Windwalker. And you've got Lawman in that SX3 banner group of heroes as well that we'll be looking at soon. And she's definitely an upgrade on him as well. But long term, I think I will definitely be running 3 Cavalry Legions. So Windwalker would be my front row in my 3rd Legion. We'll just have to see how things kind of work out with the other heroes. But 8th skill, kick there, whatever you want to insert, expletive. It's a combat skill, effective range is 4. So it will reach the 2 random enemy squads within effective range. And this gives you 50% chance to taunt 2 random enemy squads within range, lasting 2 turns. So this is what that does is it makes those squads target you. Now, I don't have this activated, but what I presume happens is then that they will basic attack you, which allows then your first aid to get to stack that 7th and 8th time. That is my understanding of it. If anyone has Windwalker out there and actually I'm explaining this wrong, then please do let me know. And of course, once I've got him this 8th skill unlocked, then I will check. We haven't had anyone in the last couple of weeks in Clash of Province who... No one else in my state runs with Windwalker, and our opponents in Clash of Province, none of them had Windwalker in any of their squads. So I've kind of been holding off a few as long as I could. This week we're up against State 194. They're only in Season 1, I think, or coming to the end of Season 1 of Reign of Chaos. So they are, miles off getting SX heroes. And next week is just a warm-up week. So I didn't want to wait any longer before doing this video. But that is my understanding. Then the second part of the skill, it will buff your squad to enter counter-attack status, and you return 150% damage when basic attacked from the taunt. So that is an extra 300% damage, which is really nice. And then this end part as well, it will increase your resistance by 100%. Now, again, I think that's not as in doubling your resistance. I think the devs are saying that that's an extra 100 on your resistance percentage figure. But even then, that is absolutely huge. If you look at most cavalry heroes, you're running with probably 260, 280 resistance, depending on who's the heroes in your squad. So if this is giving, you've got a 50% chance to get an extra 100% resistance for 2 turns as well. Then if you play by the numbers, in theory, this should activate every other turn, and it's covering, it's lasting 2 turns. So it's possible you could actually still have this skill activated for the whole battle, right? So those are the kind of numbers. It's a really... for me, he's a really nice hero. Let's see him in action. So it's as it is Thursday. We did have Heroes Duel earlier, and I came up against multiple people. I'm going into messages. I did come up against my good friend Robin. If I can find the report. Here we go. So I'm going to show you my squad that contains Windwalker, Army Breaker, Avalanche against his Warlord, Roku, Avalanche. In the video, so you'll see skill used 4. That's because we had the status skill activates at the start of the battle, and then we had Come Get Me activate 3 times during the battle. We were up against Roku, who does have this Goyo silencing skill, so that is one of the reasons why Windwalker's skill only activated 4 times. But as you can see, I still got nearly 21,000 kills from that, so that's really nice. So let's get back straight into this video. So this is pre-battle. You'll see there we go, the quick take first aid skill, healing skill has activated, and then the other players, the other hero skills are activating, and then we're into turn 1, and then Come Get Me. That is the damage, about 3,600 damage to the opponents on the 2 enemy rows. But this is what I'm talking about. If you see, there was no return damage. I did not receive 331% damage. You'll also see at the front row that my troops were in dodge. That's from Army Breaker's 8th skill. That does give dodge, and we're going to see 2 lots of healing from my troops because Army Breaker also has a healing skill which impacts on 2 different squads. So here we go. Do you see that? So the green numbers there, that was 3. That was the first aid stacking 3 times, so I was recovering about 2,000 troops, which is pretty nice. And you can already see the difference as well between an SX and an S3. See, my front row, well, until Avalanche absolutely obliterated it, my front row had over 70,000 troops at the start of that turn, and then it did drop down. But now I've got a bit of recovery up to nearly 50,000. But my opponent does not have any healers in their squad, and you can see now the difference that Warlord's squad is already down to close to 34,000, but mine is kind of stabilized. I've just got another heal. I'm up to 53,500. So this is kind of why being able to heal on your front row, and why the fact that Windwalker's first skill is a status skill, it's guaranteed healing. It's so good. And then again, you just saw we've got a dodge, which is from Army Breaker again, which is helping preserve the troops. And unless I get a massive hit from a big offensive hero, whether that be Avalanche, Jade Eagle, Spectral Reaper, those kind of absolute heavy hitters, if I'm up against someone else, then they're just not going to do enough damage to the troops in my front row to even cause a major issue for me. So you can see now Warlord down to 10,000 troops. I haven't actually lost hardly any troops in the last 3 turns. Interestingly, now Roku does get off his silencing skill, but it doesn't impact on Avalanche because she has she's immune because of her Awesome 8 skill. She's completely immune to debuffs from the opponent. And we're entering the 8th turn now. Was silenced again, so I couldn't get off any more of the 5th skill. As I say, that's one of the reasons why it didn't activate so many times in this battle. Poor old Robin, his front row completely collapsed now, 0 troops. He's down to 100,000 troops. I've still got close to about 170,000. And even with his Avalanche doing heavy damage, I still ended up with 20,000 troops at the end of that battle. Just quickly, I'll be interested to see which of our Avalanches did more damage, actually. Mine, 141,000. Yeah, see, Robin's Avalanche got a huge amount of kills, but I still won the battle. And one of the big reasons because Windwalker was keeping himself protected for that whole time with the healing. So that is Windwalker. Now, what combinations are you going to want to put him in? Well, as you can see, I've got him in my class at the moment with Army Breaker and Avalanche. So far, in my experience, that works really well. I haven't actually... I don't think I've lost a single battle yet. Yeah, I haven't lost a single battle yet, and he's going to work pretty much on the front row with most cavalry combinations. But you know, as long as you put a killer on the back, whether that's Living Saint, Avalanche, or the Immortal, he'll do his thing at the front. That's, I mean, at the end of the day, for a front row hero, you want them to be protective, and that's what he does. And he also does some damage. He's not linking anyone else's skills. He doesn't have any like debuffs that link to other players, to the other heroes' skills. So from that point of view, he's kind of, you know, the synergy with him, I don't think is so important, as long as you could literally put him with any heroes that you want. The kind of thing to consider, as I've already touched upon though, is that Army Breaker does way more than him, for instance, and can perfectly go on the front row as well. And then Lawman SX3 again can go on the front row, and even Ragnar SX4, son of Ragnar SX4, that I've just got the single duplicate, he can also go on the front row if you want, with Army Breaker and Avalanche. So this is a problem with Windwalker. Do you want to go after him once you get into Eden? I would say no, because you're going to have better options immediately available to you in that SX2 banner and in the SX3 banner. And for us, you know, when we started Eden, we did have all those banners available to us. So if we're looking at it from that point of view, no, you don't want to. He shouldn't be ever a priority for you. But if you pick him up, like I did, you know, going in that SX4 banner, going for a Skander or Ragnar, I ended up with 2 Windwalkers, and he's actually proved to be an improvement, because all I had before was Warlord. I do have Brave, but again, I only have the 1 duplicate for him. So he was an upgrade for me, but as soon as I get Son of Ragnar maxed, then he'll be out of there, and I will be trying to recruit on the SX3 banner as well. So if I ended up with multiple Lawmans, again, I would be swapping them out. So that's Windwalker, guys, and that is the SX1 heroes finished. So we are going to be looking at the 4 SX2 heroes, which again I do have in my account: Army Breaker, Avalanche, and then we have Datch and the Tarantula. So we'll be looking at those in the very near future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I wanted to talk a bit more at length during the battle footage, just to kind of explain what was going on for those heroes. Now we're getting to the higher levels. I hope hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, please do click on the old like. And if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you click on that subscribe and ring the bell. And if you could share my channel in your Alliance chats, Province chats, Guild chats, for those of you in Eden, and through your socials as well, online, Discord, Viber, WhatsApp, whatever you use to communicate between your fellow players in the game. That would be much appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.